Okay, so look at this. Mother Nature is doing her best, bursting out of this winter period. And by the way, we're more than lucky, because 17 years ago the winters over here in Sofia, Bulgaria were a little bit made from a different dough, a different cookie to crumble. But look at this, eh? This is for the people who complain about global warming, climate change, and then have to preach about everything, how things need to be changed or get back to the old days. It's part of change, part of life. Anyway, not trying to step on anybody's toes, their sensitive toes, because the weather is insane. But now I want to see the progress of one calisthenics spot, and I already see it. The thing is, last time when I was in this park, this is so called City Park Sofia, Park City Sofia, or whatever. Just scramble around with the words and you will figure it out. The thing is, let's take a look. The weather is actually really fantastic. It's almost short pants weather, you know, to grab a little bit of tan before you grab the summer by the balls. Woohoo! Look at this. I don't know how clear it is on the camera, and the Vitisho mountain is always there, looking down on us. Probably not in a disrespectful way, I hope so. Anyway, let's take a look here at this beauty, the calisthenics spot. And actually, to be very honest, the last time I didn't know. The thing is, I did a little pee-pee over there, and then I saw this beauty. So let's you and me take a little peeky. You know, you don't have to get on the plane coming to Sofia, Bulgaria to see this jewel, because, you know, I put all the calisthenics spots in my Google Map profile with over 5.5 million views at the moment, probably 6 million now at the moment. But anyway, that's a whole different story. The thing is, this calisthenics spot, mamma mia, there's almost, wow, look at this. This is actually, I think, the most beautiful one in whole Sofia, Bulgaria. Look at this. I always look at the width of the parallel bars, the thickness of the bars, but I think this one is insane. This one is almost perfect. I think it's almost built by calisthenics people, you know, not because there's one calisthenics spot, and I'm never disrespecting anything when it's about effort to improving the city and or health. The thing is, there's one in around Pirotska Street. The parallel bars are very, very shitty, and that's also a new spot, but that those parallel bars are like this. Oh, this is a very nice spot, but also look, the concrete under it. This is actually, I'm not exaggerating over here for some dumbass views. Thing is, I'm speaking here from the heart. Can do pretty much anything. Wow, take a moment of silence. Over here, people will suffer. Okay, not everybody, but I can see myself suffer over here and then totally sore at the end of the day. And the thing is, and over there drinking beer in the park. By the way, this location, the view, the thing is, I'm going actually now to the Rakovsky Stadium, which is also now again about the weather. Mamma mia. Yesterday I think I said it yesterday in the live stream also, you know, Mother Nature is just slapping around with her tentacles to, you know, to bring in the nice weather, to spoil all the people on planet Earth, and just say, here you go, you lazy bastards, over here you got some sun. But yesterday it was very windy, you know, she was trying maybe to squeeze out a little bit more disciplined people, you know, out of their homes, because yesterday it was windy and cold. Very short live stream, but now and when it's about this kind of weather, huh, I always think I'm actually happy that I always push it through. And trust me, like any normal human being, especially when it's windy, cold, snow, wet feet, cold fingers, almost fingers freezing off, I always say, nobody gives a rat's ass. Nobody gives a rat's ass. And the only thing, or the only person who benefits is you. And not only you, because if you improve your character, your physique, you live a much better life and you spread way much better energy. So a lot of more people would benefit from your presence. And you become a present. Haha. Anyway, look at this. This is actually beautiful. So, enough drooling at this calisthenics spot. Let's walk a little bit, and maybe if you like the view, I don't know how, I think you can see it, Vitischer Mountain over there. Look at this one, the sun in the sky, the grass green, trees, they wrestling with the roots, grabbing all kind of nutrition necessary to push out the leaves again and spoil us with some visual color palace. I don't know what. I think this is very nice. It's actually, no, it's ridiculous. I almost thinking that I could have or should have taken my short pants for doing, let's say, a short 5 kilometer run, but I'm cutting it down a little bit again on the runs. I simply cannot feed myself enough to stay, let's say, a little bit normal, because I can see it when I look sometimes in the mirror. I just cannot eat enough to stay on weight. And it's not like that I'm totally focused on my weight, because the last time that I stand on the scale, I think it was, I don't know, not last year, the year before in the winter. I remember that, because that was the time that I went to the gym. One time. Sometimes we do this once per 2 years, but maybe I want to go to one spa, and it's my personal opinion, one of the best spas here in Sofia, Bulgaria, of course including some boxing bags and all that kind of stuff, is around the ring, Sofia ring, the Pulse Fitness. If you go over there, steam saunas, normal saunas, great. Anyway, look at this, it's peaceful. It actually silenced my mind a little bit, probably also my speaking. You know, I also, when I upload, let's say, or cut my clips, you know, you get constantly totally confronted on your own behavior and the way you speak, the way you move. Sometimes that's pretty confronting. Yeah, really. But anyway, totally different story. But what I think about my vlogging journey, I think it's a great trust builder, especially for the people who are interested in actually working with me. Perhaps sometimes also want to work for me, but I never like this kind of let's say relationship, not anymore. I used to employ a lot of people. I always label myself as the worst manager, because I treat people a little bit too much like people. And this is not to brag, you know. In my vlogs I always talk real and live streams, you know. I cannot cut out everything or anything just to make myself look like a freaking angel, you know. A lot of people have to cut out this or cut out this for the sponsor deals that they made. I will never dance to the rhythm of other companies or whatever. And how do you make money then, Della? Well, we work behind the scenes, optimizing copy in general. Okay, the strategies, the automation, the distribution, blah blah blah. Anyway, giving away all those scenarios also. The automation scenarios on make.com, I give them all away. I think at the moment I got per day around, the last time I checked, I think now it's 95 scenarios are running. Just bam bam, distribution, content creation, etc. in many different industries. So we're not getting into this too deep, but I'm giving away everything so people can start doing everything from the phone like I do. I'm 47. And when it's about Sofia Bulgaria, if you watch me for the first time, I came here 17 years ago for the first time. Lost everything at 30. And then I had to figure it out how to make money online. Not only this, I only had offline business, offline projects, so I was totally, now I was not a traditional business guy, because I was always running totally ahead of the herd with a lot of ways, but then I had to figure it out. And now 17 years later I'm back in Sofia, Bulgaria. I want to settle over here, and not only this, I want to share how I do everything on the phone, so people can claim their freedom. And this morning also, when I came to this specific location, I see so many people drowning in their phones, and I think, you're probably going to your work now to lick some ass and just collect some a payment at the end of the month. But you know what? That is all fun, but you're not made for this. If you're really gonna be honest to yourself, that's not what you want. And the only reason that you would say now, yeah, but Alan, I need the money. And that's the kind of thing you should really keep in mind the next time when you would, now I'm not you saying you particular maybe, but the majority of people who do have jobs like to label people as us as people who chase money. And I'm gonna say something about this. People like us, we increase our value to provide to the people around us, and like this, that's how we make money. We do what we want. People with jobs, they deliver time to get some money. So if you talk about people who actually are the money chasers, are people who having jobs, because you negotiate about your salary, your wages, you go probably through somehow a whole list of mind-numbing opportunities, and then you say, no, this one is 32, let me calculate, at 3200, let's say 3200 euros a month, you know, so you can calculate my life is 100 euros per month worth. And then you of course need to calculate your health insurance and all that kind of stuff, and you would say, okay, I got some free teeth over there, I got a broken bone repairment over there, okay, that's a good deal. So in the end maybe you end up now with 35, and of course you need to pay some taxes and all that kind of stuff. Then you will end up clean, minus your rent, because you need to calculate everything, and then it's settled. And then you go into the job, and then in the beginning maybe a little bit nervous and a little bit excited, and you can tell the world about it, and after 30 days you're already totally fed up. The people who had to listen to your mind-numbing job, they pretended to for a few minutes that they were excited for you, and then it's all done deal. And then you within 6 months you will sit with no life in your eyes anymore in the subway to your job, and then you scroll on social media to find some inspiration and or some color that could give some color to your life, because you want to escape. But how? Well, I always talk about it. I give away the work structures. So simply a choice you can make. And if you, and what it, this is another thing, and then I will stop talking about doing things from the phone. One thing, if you don't like humans, then don't even consider what I'm doing. You know, not even considering to start using your phone to, you know, that's really a choice. Do you like humans or not? And now I know what you think in the back of your head. Yeah, but I'm an introvert. No, let's cut the bullshit. Just say I am very unexperienced in many different kind of situations, because I was always living in a very comfortable situation. Especially when you're living 9 to 5 thing, there is no real challenge. Oh darling, that sounds very disrespectful. Trust me. When you going to get up on Monday, probably half hangover, because you need the weekend to go totally hammered, because yeah, you want to escape this misery. The thing is, try to change something. And while you're having a 9 to 5 job, you know, try to implement the 13-step 1-minute exercise. Start to look a little bit different. Get away from those groups, you know, that they sit in the mall also over here in Sofia, you know, with their leader, the manager, the guy who with the extra beer belly and the authority thing. You know, I'm never a big fan of authority. And let's talk a little bit to the man. If you're a man, let's assume you're a 25-year-old man. Do you want to raise your finger to get to the freaking toilet? Boss, can I go to the toilet? Boss, can I go on a holiday? Dear boss, I need some time off. Dear boss, I am sick of it, sick of everything. Every day I'm tired. Of course you're tired. You're totally mind numbed, like those tigers in the zoo. You know, those tigers in the zoo, they lost any kind of hope. And that's something that I don't want for humans. And that's why I'm pretty passionate about what I'm doing. My day starts at 5:15. Do I have to get up at 5? No, but I like to breathe life. I enjoy every single second. I'm grateful for it. Look at this now. And every day it's not as sunny as this. So today we're extra blessed. But you know what? Every single second that the guy upstairs, in case you're religious, you know, allows you to breathe, be grateful for it. Whew. You can walk, then use those 2 little things under your hips. Just use them to walk, run. If you got wings, fly. But most humans don't have wings. I don't even know if that's even some kind of thing for humans. Humans have a great fantasy world going on sometimes, I think. Anyway, we're not getting into this thing. So let's walk to the calisthenics spot, Rakowski Stadium. And in the meantime, I actually, this morning I dropped one shorts also on Instagram. On Instagram they called reels. The thing is, when people send me DMs, bros, dude, what else do you get? I don't know. But you know, when you see the shorts, you know, there's always way much more going on, and I thought to add something to it, you know. And I think when you change your wordings, so first of all, hey, when you would reach out to me and you would say, hey dude, how are you doing? Now first of all, if you would watch my vlogs, you would know that I'm first of all not a big fan of people who ask me how I'm doing, because it doesn't matter. If I would say I'm doing great and you, totally waste of time. Yeah, but tell them that is small talk. Bring some value to the table straight away. What are you doing? That opens a conversation, shows some interest. And if you really show some interest, then you know, you would know not to approach me like this, bro, dude. And do I think that I'm all this and that? No, I'm just giving you a lesson. Because if you always approach people like this with the bros and the dudes, and then when you, let's say, run into a hot woman, then all of a sudden you change your whole body language, your verbal language. And also when you meet, for example, let's say it like this. I think one guy said it actually very beautiful. He said, treat everybody like you would meet Jesus. That will change your whole life. See, I'm not religious, so I'm not pretending that I'm meeting Jesus, but I treat everybody the same. I talked about this in this short, that I treat everybody the same. When I talk with children, I never talk around in suit and lick ass for a couple of dollars and pretend that they're living a happy life, and then all of a sudden, and when you would visit their social media thing, all kind of family pictures that are fabricated, it's all nice, but it's not my kind of category of people. I love authentic people, people who love to interact with other people, show compassion, interaction, like to spread some positivity, never walk around with their head between the shoulders shrugged, and is always willing to help out because they get the energy. If you look, let's say 90% of my exes, they all had these things going on, higher level of energy, but also in general colorful past. And when it's about colorful past, I love people who went through bullshit, embraced the bullshit, and just never dwell in it. You know, you also got those pathetic, and I'm gonna say it again, and if you're one of those people, you can feel stepped on your toes, but a lot of people, see, I lived also for 5 years in Malta, so the thing is, and also in Holland, the thing is, there are people, you know, they get this football sleeve that was all of a sudden, you know, the tattoo thing was all of a sudden very hot. Before that I already had mine, but I don't have a real sleeve. I have a whole combination of stuff that was really dominating my life at that point. The thing is, not only this, I also, people who are dead and gone, they're also over there. And not to show people how sad I am, no, it reminds me in the moments that I'm, let's say when I was homeless also, you know, I cannot disappoint anybody, you know, just move on. When I ended up homeless, I'm not gonna drink until I'm almost get a liver failure every single day. No, I drink to fall asleep, but keep with one eye open, already calculating where I can get the water, from which hotels, where can I find cookies. That's how I at one point went through the days. But anyway, didn't take too long, but been there, done that. The thing is, I was getting to this people who pretend that they're all this, you know, big white feet that you can buy for a couple of grand in Turkey, the football sleeve on left or right arm, and the thing is, in the meantime they cry about their grandmothers. See, that is all fun, but that is the same like the people in the suits. So in case you're watching and you think, yeah, but then you step on the toes of people who are wearing suits. No, this is the thing, when you're not living authentic, you know, you don't live a fulfilled life. And when you don't live a fulfilled life, that you always try to avoid the problems because other people would say maybe this or think like this and that, you don't have the balls to live a life. You will end up with a spouse that you probably don't like, but the thing is, at one point you get it attached enough and maybe accidentally you forgot about to buy some balloons around it, and then you're all of a sudden with the three of you, and then you have to buy all kind of extra stuff, diapers, because you took it too easy. And that sounds very negative, but that's reality. I know so many couples and for the couples who are watching me, I know so many couples, mamma mia, always, if you cannot even hold the door open for your girlfriend, then I think there is something horribly wrong. You should not be with a woman in the first place. And not only this, sometimes or many times they become like buddies. You know, the man plays around with their phones, the child is banging on a tablet, and the woman makes selfies with her lips in the air, and it is all nice. But why would you get in a long-term relationship? You know, I know women, very sexy women, that's not the case, but you know, the guy who actually knocked her up, yeah, that woman should not be with somebody. And also vice versa, the guy, you know, fell for it. And I think if you got a couple of balls, you do what you stand for and also what you believe in, and always speak from the heart. A lot of people, if they would speak from the heart, I believe more than 90% of the relationships would not even get started, but also when, let's say, 90% would break up. Anyway, that sounds very confusing. Anyway, this is live, people. I'm not gonna cut it out, tick 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 tick, to make myself sound better, more intelligent. You know what I always think? See, I'm hyper interested in humans, what's going on between the ears. You know, I'm always fascinated, you know, when I look at people, their body language, and also how they treat other people. And you know, especially when they claim some sort of, you know, dedication. You know, dedication. I'm so dedicated to my wife. But then they contact me, and then they ask straight away, can we go to the strip club? See, I have, see, in general, and this is because the people who know me, they would say, yeah, but Alan, you end up multiple times with people who are in the entertainment business. Also webcam girls. The thing is, those people have some sort of energy, and no, I'm not going to the strip clubs to find women. I just bump into them, let's say, in a normal people place. I took a lot of dates in the supermarkets, but anyway, totally different talk. Hey, yeah, when it's about dating, maybe this is a nice, interesting thing. If you're not familiar with it, Facebook. See, I am on all dating things, but I don't do anything with it. I just accept invitations and that. So this on Facebook dating, you can people send you a friend, or they're interested in something else. But the thing is, I just do click 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 click, and I don't do anything with it, because the majority of people, you know, they just like to take it easy. And not only this, and this is not to look down on anybody again, but the thing is, when people hang around on dating things and send likes and requests, messages, it's all so plain. And that's also one of the reasons that I in general have to be on those dating things. And I made this statement before about dating events. Why would you go over there? Because you cannot find a date, I understand. But think like this. If you go to a place where everybody lacks one major skill, communication, or in general also discipline, because, you know I sit down with a lot of people, and also on the video calls, you know, they say, I cannot get this, I cannot get this. And then I always ask, do you know actually what you want? You know, describe your ideal person. And then they describe it sometimes. The majority of people wouldn't even know, but the people who do know, they don't create the habits or their own characteristics that would fit that ideal person. But this is the thing. Some people who work on their habits and everything, they are so focused on the outcome, and they forget about that they have to put the work in every single day. Of course, you can take willy vanilly, let's say it like how I think. You can take a bunch of lower quality people, or you take a, let's say, a lesser amount, higher quality of people. That includes, you know, that requires patience. Not only this, also daily discipline. That's how I think. And if you go to dating events, everybody lacks a couple of skills. You know, the communication skills, probably also a lot of self-care, low energy. No, low energy in general comes from consuming the wrong stuff. I think low energy can be very quickly solved. Just increase the amount of vitamin C, skip a little bit the burgers and the pizzas for 7 days, clean up your whole system by drinking ridiculous amounts of water, clean up your intestines with oatmeal and milk, just for the next 72 hours oatmeal and milk. The thing is, how do you know that does work? I do sometimes when I look down in the toilet. Sometimes when I eat multiple days in a row pasta, then it's not the tightest. A very disgusting talk, I know, but I look at it. So then I implement oatmeal for, let's say, breakfast, daytime, and that's pretty much done deal. I'm back on track. I think it's very important to keep a look or keep an eye out on what's dropping in the toilet, also on the front, you know. I have, let's say it like this, and that sounds maybe again a little bit disgusting, but hey, we're adults over here, right? The thing is, when I'm interested in a woman, sometimes I go after, especially in public places, I go to the toilet and take a little smell. And that sounds disgusting, but the thing is, I happily declined multiple times, because some women, they consume stuff they shouldn't consume, and they smell horrible on the toilet. Anyway, just saying, but that's me. I'm obsessed with growth and everything. And also when it's about choosing, let's say, spouses or possible spouses, or people to date with, or just for a dinner, you know, many times I just walk upon somebody and say, hey, you want to eat? Then with no different, I don't have any intentions of like, hey, I need it, needy. No, I don't need it. I just sometimes, you know, let's go and eat something. Maybe we make a nice friend. I do have a lot of female friends that I never actually laid a finger upon, you know. And this is something about women. I always admire them for one thing. They way much smarter and stronger than most men think. And when they speak to me about men, I learn a lot from them, huh? But I learn a lot from any human being that I interact with. I always, you know, I look at the tiniest thing, how their eyelids go up and down, but also the way they speak, but also when I discover lies, you know. See, I'm doing this for decades. I'm always, you know, so admired by, I see humans, you know, when you look between their ears, there's a whole universe to be discovered. That's how I look at it, you know. And it's never judgmental. I'm just looking at the specific characteristics, and then I think, where is this coming from? And that's why I also in general have a lot of sympathy for people, because I know a lot of people struggle with things they should not struggle with at all. And that again is not judgmental, but then I always feel for them, because they don't know the way. They are surrounded probably by people who say, it's all good, little Timmy or little Susie, you know, just be sad about this, complain about the government. Let's complain about the government together and be strong and build one force together, and let's say declare a war between our ears to the world. I always say, when you think there's something wrong in the world, and then this comes back again to being authentic. If you complain about something, do something about it. You know, there are also a lot of people who complain about wars, and the thing is that we should think about it. First of all, it's of course awful, but I am not so involved mentally that I'm gonna speak about it and how wrong everybody is, because if you really think that it's so wrong, you're over there in the war zones to do something about it. Is it about you know, help the wounded people, or you go into the army? See, I don't have this urge. The only thing is, and it's not because I'm a coward, not at all. I have a whole record of being pretty, let's say, I could say, you know, I used to be very highly aggressive. But not only this, I'm also going to say something. I always did it from, let's say, help out. I also multiple ended up in court for pretty, yeah, you know, other people ended up pretty injured. And this is simply because they did something what I thought was totally out of the ordinary. I'm a very simple man. You don't hit children, you don't hit animals, and you don't hit women. Very simple. And if you do one of those, I'm 47, but you know, and this is another thing. I am not violent at all. I prefer to walk away. But if it goes, we gotta go. And I'm not the one who is gonna cripple away. But I always warn people. I think the last time was 2 years ago, and I warned them. I said, we're gonna do this, then it's your choice, not mine. I always say it is not mine, but when you get over the line, then simply do it. It's again getting back to real, you know, because once, and the people who never got hit in the face serious, and this is not a classic thing, you need to get hit in the face, blah blah blah. The thing is, trust me, most people who talk about violence and that kind of stuff, because the younger people, I speak with a lot of people, so, and also the younger people, when they talk about a little bit how, you know, aggressive they are or whatever, then I always look at their wrist, their knuckles, their whole, their legs. There's a lot of things involved that even if they would conduct some sort of violence, they're gonna break every single bone. And not only this, when a guy smokes a cigarette and talks about violence towards me, then I think, no guy, you're gonna gas out very soon. And this is again not to brag, this is not about talking down on those people, but you know, stay humble. Just, you know, try to interact with people in a normal way. Don't exaggerate things, because if you speak to people like me, trust me, you know, I'm also gonna say it is, I got in multiple countries, multiple times arrested, but the thing is, many times also, again, because I didn't have boundaries when it's about loyalty towards other people. So I'm not saying that I'm an angel, not at all. I'm just a guy, a nobody like everybody. You know what I always like to say, we're all nobodies, but never forget, nobody's perfect. So you can interpret it that in multiple ways, in two ways actually. We're all nobodies and nobody's perfect. So you and me, we are perfect in our own little tiny wicked manner, right? So we keep on doing it. I'm at the moment next to the Rakowski Stadium. Let's walk in, let's go freakishly nuts. And now the weather is beautiful. I wouldn't be surprised that again people popping up like mushrooms. And I talked about this, I think yesterday I talked about this. Now people start, you know, popping up like mushrooms in autumn. Tick 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 tick. Beautiful weather. Maybe even thinking about going to the seaside, making plans. If you're a guy or a girl who is not a 9-to-5 rat race and thinks that you need to earn $5 grand a month, so your life is worth now let's say $150 of worth per day. I don't know how to calculate this, just figure it out. The thing is, you have to start thinking about that it's your life. You only got one ticket. You're longer dead than you're alive. So do you want to dance somebody else's rhythm? And you can start of course with a little doing service businesses, models, but you're always slaving away for somebody else, and that's something you don't want. You want to take control of your time, your life, and don't work too much, because I'm giving you away, giving you the strategies, the structures. I always confuse those, because strategies are the ones that hype you up, and then you would say, oh, I really want to do this, and then I'm probably going to be in 24 hours very relaxed. No, simply a decision that you need to make, and then really go all in, always all in. Half work, maybe this, maybe that, maybe she, and then of course tiny problems will drip in. But again, there are all kind of structures for to do this, to stay focused. For example, when it's about the way I eat, if you see, I write everything down, I track everything, but am I a nutritionist? No, but I eat like a freaking Spartan. For what I eat for one reason and one reason only. I need to stay alive, and I need to be fueled for whatever I want to do. I need brain power, I need a little bit muscle on the bone, and that's it. I need the energy, I need fuel. That's why I don't eat pizzas or burgers, because I will get tired. And this is the thing, I would love to do a live stream eating a whole big Mac menu. I didn't eat McDonald's last year. The last time was actually the year before that year. But I think it would be nice to go all in, and I would really love to do this, and then just see how I feel, and then share how I feel afterwards. And then actually maybe you can learn something from it, that normal people do this on a regular basis. There's nobody. Look, okay, there's one guy. There's one guy. Look at this. Maybe maybe later on people will pop up. Let's see what time it is. I also keep on rattling. It's now 10:08. Okay, for 40 minutes I'm speaking. The way it looks like, oh, mamma mia. Let's take a look together. You know, Rakovsky Stadium, Sofia, Bulgaria. There was once a guy, he actually, you know, he came to Sofia, he said, can you go for free over there? And if that would be one of your questions, yes, you can. I always like to, you know, see, we all have eyes, right? So if you watch my vlogs, you can see there are trees on the thing. If I would be the manager of this place, you know, hang a box on the thing. People can put one left of we got euros now. Euro in it every time you finished. Or if you don't have the euro, then clean up 1 meter. Like this, you would have a very great stadium. But it requires discipline, of course, and a little bit honor and respect for the. I would do it if there would be a shovel over here and this was the requirement. You know, I would put a euro in it and I would clean maybe 2-3 meters, because you know there are multiple things that I'm obsessed with. And no, I don't have some sort of OCDC or, you know, this cleanup thing. No, it's simply, you know, it is easy to do, but also easy not to do. That is actually one of the quotes of Jim Rohn about life. Everything that's easy not to do, or even everything that is easy to do, is also easy not to do, but it will make a big change. Like I always say, you know, nobody ever went to jail for giving too many compliments. Easy to do, but also easy not to do. But if you do it, it will make a difference in your life. And of course, not by doing it once. If you do something positive, do it multiple times. Just keep on doing it until the day you die. If something is not negative about it, why wouldn't you? Probably because you don't have enough energy. So just implement some of the training structures that and that one is alive. 13-step 1 minute exercise. Took me years to compile that one. And because when I am not around calisthenics spots or any kind of place, or you know, that you have to stay in a room, you know, you do 100 a day. See, now I say 100 because I'm doing 100, but I say to normal people, do 5 a day and you're already ahead of the herd. But do it until the day you die. Not you know, a little bit, do it one time, look in the mirror, try to find some abs or whatever. You're not gonna find a single ab from doing things once. Now when the summer is coming, probably people start considering, let's work on the summer body, and then in the summer get highly disappointed that they're not in the shape that they want to be. I think when you're in a relationship, let's assume you're in a relationship, or you do once in a while willy vanilly. The thing is, you know, also think about the other person. When I take a woman out, I always think like this: am I worthy? You know, did I put in the work? Did I put in the work? Is my behavior good enough? And the thing is, and this is not to be some sort of, what they call it these days, a simp. No, I think like this: I need to better myself tomorrow and every single day after. And then after 7 days, I would look down on this day and I would think, no, hey, you spoke like an idiot. So what? Who gives a rat's ass? Only the idiots will talk negative about other idiots. So, you know, and also when I talk about the red flags, it's only for people who want to improve their life. If you don't want to improve your life or do anything else than you're doing now, you're living the life that you want, you're watching the great Netflix series, that is great. No judgment at all. But don't pretend on social media that you're all of a sudden very happy, and then you have to go to a photographer to make extremely happy family pictures and then upload them, because yeah, those are professional pictures. You cannot make genuine pictures, you know, with the hidden camera in the room that actually your spouse is laughing at you, or that you really have fun. Because those fabricated pictures is all nice, and then we can probably guess your occupation, licking ass for a little bit money. And that is not disrespectful talk, that's reality. And my stuff is about reality. Face reality. Just grab reality by the balls. Look in the mirror. You know, what do you see? Who do you see? Where are you gonna take this soul? You are a soul. When you look in the mirror, you are a soul. You look at your soul. Try to take a deep look into your eyes. When I lost everything for the first time, I look in the mirror for many hours. Not in one session, but every time. Look at me. Who the fuck are you? I thought I had everything together, you know. All constantly offline businesses. I started selling when I was 11. But the thing is, when I lost everything, it became very clear to me, nobody gives a freaking furry rat's ass. See, I'm adopted, and the thing is, I'm saying this, see, it's normal that nobody gives a rat's ass. And my adoption parent that died a long time ago, so who would care about us? Nobody. But the thing is that I'm not saying this to be some sad boo-hoo little freak. No, I'm just saying I'm aware of reality in ways that a lot of people cannot even imagine. Especially, you know, so, you know, when it's about getting arrested, also when you get arrested innocent based upon how you look like. And when I think, okay, now I'm getting a little bit more into details, but you know, the first time, see, I was always a very hyperactive person, so very quickly the police came around the corner. I think around 10 was the first time, when I was 10. But the thing is, also when I was around 15, 16, police just picked me up and accused me of all kind of stuff. I didn't like that. And if you're watching this, you're probably not, because I'm already rattling for 40 minutes and probably you don't have the patience, because, oh yeah, when it's also, I'm not going to talk bad about police, but I am going to say something. If you not stand behind, and it's again about authenticity, because I got arrested also multiple times, and then people, they say, yeah, Dan, we also don't know, but we just do our job. No, you don't. You choose the job. You choose to dance to the melody of other people. And that is with everything. I'm not looking down on the police in any kind of way, but if you go against, you know, human common sense, I think there's something wrong. And I also know multiple police people that they knew what they did was horribly wrong. And the last time over here in Sofia, I didn't get arrested, but one of my exes, she thought it was funny to accuse me of something, that I would threaten her on the phone. Well, if you know how I speak about stuff, and if you know, but I was sitting with the police, and after 2-3 hours of speaking, we already didn't speak about that stuff anymore, because they knew. And then the police also asked me, you know, is this woman 100% between the ears? I said, you know what, I'm not over here to talk negative about anybody, but you know, I don't want to cause anybody problems, so I said, I don't know. The thing is, what I do know, I would never pick up, because this person, she actually said that I call her in the middle of the night to cut off her head. And then I think, whoa, and then she made one mistake. The thing is, see, my Bulgarian language is very minimal. But when I live with a Bulgarian, you know, then all of a sudden it pops up a little bit more. But not only this, it also depends which Bulgarian I talk with, because some Bulgarians, they are, you know, some people I really clearly understand, especially children, because they are not influenced by dialects and everything, I think. But so, for example, the guy who owns the Airbnb, when he speaks Bulgarian to me, I always have to ask him a couple of times, can you speak a little bit slower? But okay, when it's about this woman, she said that I was threatening her in Bulgarian. And I said, what did I say then? And then the police, of course, told me. And then I said, no, there you go, I don't know how to say this. And I really don't know how to say it. So I don't learn anything negative. I recognize negative words, especially when it's about my race. Because yeah, now it's not so much anymore. But you know, 17 years ago was a whole different area over here. And the thing is, and because I'm raised by white people, but still, you know, people see me on the outside, and before I open my mouth, you think that I'm some kind of, you know, colored person. And the thing is, for me, I was raised in a white environment. The first time that I saw in a village, when I saw some dark people working behind the counter, you know, and I think the first time that I ever went to the McDonald's was when I was 15 or something, or 16, and then I saw colored people behind the thing. And I always, you know, when I was hanging around in my village, I also applied for jobs, you know, once for a supermarket, straight away declined. And yeah, I did also some work on some land. Always had to do the very shitty jobs, so I was, you know, already used to it, and it was always about my color when something went wrong. So I was always, you know, but I never saw my own color. But then I saw people working behind McDonald's, and McDonald's was a big chain, so normal job. Is that good that black people work over there? That's how I really thought. And also, this is another thing, you would never see me walking around. That the time that I would, and there's nothing against black people or whatever, you know, I hang around with real people. And it's not, wait a minute, before I say continue this, the thing is, in general, the people that I can hang around with, they have very colorful past, but they also get over it. You know, they embraced reality, and they control their lives. The thing is, and those people are white, because I talk about this also a lot. If everybody looks the same where you hang around, look at people that you meet. Guys have the same height, have the same haircut. Look at the majority of guys or girls that walk together. They have something in common. When you would see me with other people, the only thing that we will have in common is authenticity, real. And it's not to brag, but that's, I'm really cannot hang around with people, you know, that everything is so fabricated. I remember when I came from Malta 3 years ago back here in Bulgaria, I was wearing fake Nikes because I really liked the camouflage on those, and you could buy them in Malta for I think 25 euros, and I really liked them. You wouldn't, yeah. And then I came over here in Sofia, and some guy, he said, yeah, you're wearing fake Nikes, and I think, what the hell? I never thought about this, because I also, you know, and when it's about Malta, I know people who also totally really don't care about brands or whatever, but you know, they own so many real estate over there, they don't have to do anything anymore. They live from the, you know, from the attendees or whatever. The thing is, you know, that is all not important, but when I came over here, they made me aware of the fact my Nikes are not real, and that really matters. And I think if you think that that matters, yikes, then you got some issues going on. But also this person who said this about my Nikes, he never had, because he is with his first girlfriend, knocked her up, but that woman is in control, shouts out of the window when it's necessary. He can, let's say it like this, if you would drive around with your car, you would pick up, let's say, a friend, right, when you see him walking. He cannot do this because he has to be home for this and this. He doesn't control anything in his life, nothing. The only thing that he controls is roll a cigarette and suck on it. Now that sounds pretty, you know, and then this person, I think it's very sad, but yeah, he is already so embedded with it, you know, that's the way his life is, you know. Captivity. Just has another mortgage, or took a mortgage for an apartment. Stuck to it for 30 years. Now you know what's gonna happen when he's gonna lose his shitty job with his not 100% colleagues. I know, because he talked about this. The thing is, what kind of life is this? Anyway, not talking down, just keep in mind you only live once. How are you gonna get, how do you step into the grave? With a set of balls, or that you already lost them many decades ago? And then when you sit with the guys who in the same situation, you talk about all the hot girls that you missed out upon, or while you're sitting with your child on your lap and you talk about how much women you dated, and then you look at the quality. I know one guy in the neighborhood that I stay in the Airbnb. And again, if you're watching this, the thing is, every time, you know, he walks around with his children, with his wife, and you can see the restlessness. I can see the restlessness. You know, he wants to be, he wants. Listen to what I say, want. People also want money. People also want this, but don't pay the price. So this guy walks around with his children and he says, yeah, you know, I'm used to dating a lot of women, blah, blah, blah. See, what I always think, I'm very curious about the quality of those women, because a lot of guys also send me their pictures of the women that they hang around with, and I think, yeah, that is nice. I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't spend a single second with those. And the thing is that, judgmental, there are things I think deep inside, because if you hang around, let's say, with your spouse, and it's considered wedding material, because that's the big day that you sign your life away. And the thing is, before that, you all of a sudden have to get together with the boys and the girls, and just to hide the secret that you actually banged the stripper. Now, I don't know how authentic that is, huh? When I am, let's say, in a longer relationship with a woman, I'm not even... See, the thing is, first of all, I'm also, when I'm in a relationship, very, very straightforward with everything. Also, I had a lot of open relationships, so, you know, I'm not like, ooh, you're mine and you cannot go anywhere because otherwise I'm gonna lose you. No, I think the moment that you have to cage a woman, that you already, you by the way, this is also how I think, you never own anybody in the first place. You never own anybody. You know, you cannot go out. When a woman goes out with me, I say, just dress as slutty as possible. Just as slutty as possible. You know, be yourself with me. I love when men are just staring and just drooling. And the thing is, then it's about how they act, their attitude. And that's why I choose women in general who lived a life, so they know their boundaries, because I provide freedom and a lot of things more. I put things on the table, and I'm not dancing around the bush. I don't need anybody. I don't operate from a needy thing. I just want to provide, not from a simp standpoint. I just provide entertainment, and of course I go all the way all in about with other things that are out of the normality, and that keeps them somehow returning. And not only this, I'm at the moment not in a long-term relationship. I have very let's say flexible connections, let's say it like this, but I am looking for something, but not in a needy way. I do have always a little tiny list of possibilities, but I'm just taking my time to check the characters, you know, because I provide freedom. I'm not the kind of guy that would say with you, no, let's go to the beach and lay down on the beach on a towel, you know, and then just do this for 7 days and go back. No, I like to have a woman that, you know, that has the flexibility and the boundaries and the experiences of having boundaries, because, you know, a lot of people cannot handle freedom. All my exes, they actually know that they could always go out, and I always said, just dress as slutty as possible, but be honest about what happened. You know, I always want that people express themselves, live the life that they want, not that I tell them that they should live. Never. But the moment that people start lying about things, yeah, then it's over. Then you become some kind of study object for me. And then I just, for not last year but the year before that, the one actually who went to the police to do this fake thing, that one started lying about stuff, and that one became so I studied her lies. You know, I already knew, and I thought, this is interesting, this one is pretty good. But this is about some people, they lie, they cannot do anything about it. And you can look at very tiny things about their eyes, and of course this person noticed that I am not stupid, so this person had another technique to hide her, let's say, deceivement. She actually, when I think about it, and I still, when I walk into her, I will do a coffee with her just to see what she comes up with. The thing is, this person, everything that she did wrong, and I'm gonna give you an example. So she used at one point also drugs. See, if you start using drugs, then it's better not. So the thing is, and then she came back from her work and I picked her up, and then she said, yeah, you use drugs and everything. And I said, no, that is totally ridiculous, because if I would use drugs now in this period of my life, I used boatloads of drugs. So trust me, if I would use drugs, I'm not gonna lie about it. I'm not gonna say. And also, when I would use drugs, you could totally see on me, I just turned silent in general. When I filled up my nose, I just want to sit in my room and just hide. And not many times you would see me filling up my nose and then hang around at the discotheques or whatever, the clubs. Never was like this. I could really enjoy my own journey between the years. But yeah, this person always, when there's something what she did wrong, reflected on somebody else. It's not really gaslighting, but I really I was looking at her, many things she did like this, and then I was looking at her, wow, you're good, but I am a little bit better. And I'm not saying that I'm, let's say, better than her, but I said at one point also, why do you do this? And actually last year I met her also again, and then she said, yeah, this and this person died. See, and I got pretty much everywhere people in each neighborhood, but also in multiple cities over here in Bulgaria, so I can verify very quickly. So I asked one person and I said, is this person really dead? And straight away, no. So I think, you know, and that is simply a category of people. They make up things, and then yes, well, I don't know. I also really don't know the reason of it, and that is simply a category of people that I bump into them, but I'm not gonna mingle with them, because that is dangerous. Anyway, I need to put in some work over here. Maybe I will do a live stream about my daily regime. Yeah, but that's so boring. I already saw this so many times. Okay, good. Then you don't watch. You just swipe away. You give me a thumbs down, a middle finger, bam. Just say fuck you, Dylan, with all your bullshit talks. I just love the way I live. And then you look in the mirror at the end of the day and you think, did I do everything that I should have done? Let's say, to be proud of myself, to feel fulfilled, you know? Or did I had a whole day full with excuses, you know? No, I don't have time for you. Just say how it is. I don't want to meet you. All people have the same amount of time, 18 hours, at least me. You know, I sleep 6 hours. I go 11:30 and I get up at 5:15. Usually I even sleep less, and then every 5 or 6 days I catch up a little bit. Then I sleep 2 hours longer, and I actually then feel a little bit miserable. And sometimes also not, but in general it's about guilt, feeling guilty. You know, like now I slept 2 hours longer. If I do 2 hours longer sleeping every single month, it's 60 hours. You know, if I sleep more than 6 hours every single day, then I miss 60 hours a month. You know what I can do with those? I can develop nice scenarios for make them and give them to you. You know, you, and you can automate things. You give your boss the middle finger. So anyway, stop rattling, Dylan. Okay, let's put in some work. What do we see over here? A nice little ropey. Somebody tried to hang themselves by listening to my bullshit, and then reality start hitting him or her. Or maybe they did some kinky. When it's about, no, I'm not gonna get into this. I have access. No, can I say this? Wait a minute, let me think about my words. No, we're not getting into this. I can say, actually, why not? No, I'm not gonna say this. That is for my talks on Rumble. Or maybe on the private streams. I also do the private streams, you know, then I go all in, just 4 hours, bam, 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 bam. People just call and just drop messages and I respond out loud. Never mention anybody's name, eh? Never mention anybody's name or the country that they're from or the city that I live in. So you know, I'm just using, let's say, experiences from my own life. That's why I pretty much can keep on talking, because I just maybe revealed 2 or 3% of my colorful life that I led so far. I'm 47, and trust me, I can say this without bragging. I lived multiple lifetimes. I can say this, and you will see along the way. I will do a lot of videos, tons of videos. I'm actually thinking now, what kind of special move shall I do? But first, the daily regime. A lot of legs also today, a lot of forward lunges, backward lunges, the deep dubs plus knee raises, pull-ups plus knee raises, and of course knee raise on the parallel bar and or hanging, and a lot of toes to bars also, and side knee raises, maybe some window wipers. Those are always really burning the sides, so you can get rid of your love handles. It's all about love. All we need is love, but not love handles. Look, when it's about these parallel bars, and because in the beginning of this live stream I showed you the nice beauty, you know, let's say it was still in the not developed, not fully developed, like an embryo, right? The other calisthenics spot. Nothing bad about this one. By the way, the other one is way much longer over here in the Rokovsky stadiums. Those parallel bars over there are actually perfect height, and you got 2 parallel bars over there with different width, and the size of the bars are actually very nice. Not too thin, not too thick, just perfect. You know, I'm also curious who came up with those measurements, right? You know, for me, when I look around the calisthenics spot like this, I can just stare for hours like normal people would look at sunsets and that kind of stuff, sit on the beach lurking on mojitos or a bottle of tequila, vodka. I love to spend time over here. Sometimes I'm also drinking beer over here. Not over here, but yeah, also over here I drank with one yeah, with that's also, and then I'm gonna stop talking. You know, when it's about engagement with the world, the guy who took care of the fields last year over here, I would say a little bit an older man, I'm not gonna mention his name, very nice guy. He also runs a restaurant, but it's closed, and he doesn't want to have clients over there. But the thing is, the only reason that I can go over there, he said, is because I you know, paid some attention. And this is my last thought. A lot of people would say, don't be mind your own business. But if you're just genuinely interested in other people, their well-beings, and just interested in why they're doing, how they're doing, you know, then doors are opening. You know, I end up in many situations on also locations and also with people, you know, they don't let other people into their lives very easily. And also when it's about I can say this about Malta, you know, I got very high level contacts. You know, those people, they are very known on their islands, and the thing is, they are not, you know, with an open door like you know, we're everybody's friend. And I'm not saying this to brag, I'm just trying to, you know, to motivate people. Let's call it a little bit motivation talk. You know, try to engage with the world. It opens so many doors. But this is another thing. Even when you would live in an environment that you're not very happy with, let's just embrace the situation that you're in and just try to optimize it by engaging a little bit more with the people over there. And sometimes you will reveal gems that are right under your nose. I'm very honest about this. I spend time in multiple environments that that most people would say, oh, this looks pretty shitty. But I think interaction with people gives in environments color. Many times when I vlogged in the beginning, I was looking, okay, the buildings don't look very good, but I don't feel about the buildings like this. You understand what I mean? I just engage with the world and everything gets more color. And every time things... See, and that's another thing. Not everybody will react positively, but so what? Those people are very, very, very minimal. Very minimal. And the thing is, in the beginning, when you're not used to it, because you label yourself as an introvert, you would say, yeah, but it didn't work out. Well, do it 1,000 times more. And then at one point you start winning. You really start winning. You feel better. Perhaps you present yourself better. Pull your shoulders to the back, chest to the front, lips in the air, and just speak. Speak your mind. Respect everybody. Speak from the heart. But don't say everything what's on your heart, but use your brain. Try to absorb people, their energy. Try to mirror, let's say, bad behavior and walk away. When it's, and this is the last thought also, when it's about women, when they have so-called bad behavior, and I'm not saying labeled as bad, I will just say that wouldn't sync with my principles. My principles are simply very simple. Just respect anybody who has no direct benefits for you. Then I think it's already very sexy. High levels of energy, a little bit. High levels of energy, they come always with so much more benefits. But anyway, let's work on my energy. We have to pump up, just get the blood flowing. Energy just burst into all my cells of my body, into my brain. Tick, 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 tick. My synapses in my brain, they need to go faster. Left, right, or maybe up and down. 360, like an atomic bomb. All those synapses that I need to give information. My fingers, tick, 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 million milliseconds per second, I don't know. So that is the speed, and just maybe go even faster thinking, faster reaction, faster engagement with the world, observing, tick, 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 tick. Just try to ripple effect some positivity, and if necessary, to protect yourself. Also, be aware where you are. Another thought, people who say, this is the most dangerous neighborhood in Sofia Bulgaria. Those people come for 7 days and just come over here for a little bit bullshit content. Of course they got the millions of views, but of course everybody wants to see disaster, or likes to see disaster. And then one guy also came over here, and then he says, yeah, I'm drinking rakia, but he was drinking rakia from the magazine. The thing is from the store, so that is in my eyes no rakia. Anyway, we're not getting into the rakia thing. I haven't drunk rakia for this whole year. I didn't. I used to drink a lot more hard liquor. Now once in a while I satisfy myself with a beer. Also not the same amounts as I used to. And for the people who would say, yeah, but that sounds like an alcoholic. Whatever, if you're in the labeling business, then kudos to you. And I think you should get rid of this. If you're in the labeling business of putting people in boxes, then you probably don't have a very fulfilling occupation, a daily occupation. If you're average Joe or Jane, then you don't have time to put people in boxes. You just observe their characteristics, see if you can sync with them. Maybe you spread some value, maybe make them laugh a little bit. I think it's always nice to see people laugh, especially when they drowned a little bit in their own thoughts. Anyway, let's cut the cheese and get to work. Ciao for now, beautiful people. Maybe one day we will meet. You never know. You never know. You really never know. You really, really never